Adding movement to your cooking videos is not only an amazing way to add creativity to your shots, but it also helps keep viewers engaged while they watch. A lot of people think that they need a gimbal to capture this style of shot, and although you can technically use one to film your food, you would need someone else to operate the camera in Gimbal if you wanted to add this camera motion to shots of you cooking. This wouldn't be possible if you are a one-man band and film yourself. It also is just not that precise because gimbals can move any which way, and this makes it difficult to capture super smooth motion when holding one. A slider is the best way to get very precise camera movement, and you'll need that precision when filming super close-up shots of your ingredients or plated food. A gimbal just won't give you that same consistent precision when filming. Zeapon hooked me up with this slider, and I'm going to show you how to use it to capture 3 different camera movements to up the quality of your cooking videos. The way a slider works is there's basically this carriage that has wheels that roll or slide across the rail. You just need to attach a camera head or phone mount to the carriage to mount a camera or phone to the slider to add motion to your shots. Full disclosure, they sent me this slider for free, but I've been wanting one for years, and they didn't tell me what to say, and they didn't even see this video before I posted it. What's cool about this slider is that it's modular, so if you wanted to, you could start with just the slider and slowly add motorized upgrades later to maximize the full potential and creativity of this cinematic tool. I'll start with some basic camera movement examples that you can get with just the slider by itself, and then I'll move into some more advanced ways to add creative camera movements with some of the other accessories. The slider has built-in adjustable legs, so you have the ability to place this on the floor or on your table when you use it. I personally prefer to mount it to a tripod. To do that, I'll take my tripod quick release plate and attach it to the bottom of the slider. I'll then mount the slider onto the tripod with the quick release plate. The slider also included these 2 tripod support rods that I can use to mount the ends of the slider to the tripod legs for added stability. This just helps keep the slider from tilting when the weight of the camera moves from one side to the other. If you use a tripod, just make sure that it's rated or strong enough to support the weight of your camera and slider. So one of the simplest shots to get with a slider is a push or pull camera movement. For this shot, you'll position the slider in a way that the camera would move closer or further to whatever it is that you're filming. Pushing in is a great way to bring the viewer closer to the subject, or to help emphasize or focus on something specific within the shot. I like to use this to maybe highlight an ingredient, or for a shot of the final plated dish. Pulling the camera back is a great way to reveal more in the shot. For example, you could start the camera close up on maybe a brand-sponsored ingredient, and then have the camera pull back to reveal the rest of the ingredients that you'll be using in the recipe. This pullback shot is also sometimes used at the end of a shot sequence. Think of like a scene where people are talking in a house, and then the last shot is outside of the house, and the camera is slowly pulling away to end that scene or the movie. One pro tip I like to do is film my slider shots in reverse. What I mean is, I'll start with the end of the shot. So let's say it's the plated dish perfectly centered in the frame. Then I'll hit record and I'll count to like 5 or 6 seconds. Then I'll slowly pull the slider away from the plate till I get to the end of my slider, or I'm just happy with how long the movement is, and then I'll hit cut. Then when it comes time to edit, I'll just reverse the clip speed so that the clip starts with the food not in the shot and then slides forward and ends with the plate perfectly centered. This is just way easier than trying to slide the camera forward and stop it perfectly every time. This tip might not work if there are other things moving in the background, like someone walking, for example. These push and pull camera movements are similar but not the same as zooming in and out. When you zoom a camera, you're just doing a digital or optical crop on the image. But with the slider, the actual camera is moving. And when you have other elements in the shot that are close to the camera, you can really feel and see that camera movement. One thing that's cool about this specific slider is that it includes a vacuum adjustable dampening system. This helps create extremely smooth and consistent camera movements. And you can easily adjust the resistance of the slider by turning this little knob here at the end. The higher the number, the higher the resistance. Another simple slider shot is moving the camera from side to side. For this shot, you'll position the slider so that it's perpendicular to whatever it is that you're filming, and the camera would slide from left or right. The best way to emphasize camera movement for this shot is to add some elements to the foreground of your shot. This way the things in the foreground will move slowly in front of the lens as the camera slides from left to right. This movement is also great when revealing things within the shot, like ingredients for example. Another thing you can do is position the camera up high and point the lens down on the table so that when you slide over you can reveal your final plated dish. I love using sideways slider camera movement to create transitions. An easy one is to slide in and out from behind something. To do this, you simply just need to have your first slider shot slide from the left to the right, but go right behind something dark or black at the end. Then for your second shot, you start from behind something black and slide from left to right again to reveal what it is that you're filming in the second shot. Then, when you edit, you can cut the two together using the black as the transition between the two shots. For this to flow smoothly, you just want to make sure that both the shots are moving in the same direction and at about the same speed. This slider has a cool motorized upgrade that you can easily mount to the side of the slider. And it doesn't require you to replace or add any drive belts or even use any additional tools. It uses the stainless steel gears to add movement, and it simply just screws on. This particular one is powered by this Sony battery, and I got a bunch of these big ones that I use to power some of my other camera gear, but you can find them in different sizes as well. I have links to all this stuff in the description. And there's also a USB-C input on the side, so you can just plug this directly into the wall or use a power bank to power this as well. You can control the slider by pressing the buttons on the side of the motor. What's cool is that there's also an app that allows you to control the motion of your slider as well. You can pick the direction, speed, and also have it loop this motion. It's super easy to understand, and I didn't read any directions on any of this stuff. My third and final and favorite camera movement is called a parallax shot. This is when the slider is moving in one direction and the camera is rotating or panning another direction or speed to keep something centered in the shot. To achieve this shot, you still need to position your slider perpendicular to whatever it is you're filming so that it can slide from side to side. But you'll need to add a panning camera head to your slider so that you can pan the camera left or right to keep what you want centered in the frame. Zeapon also sent me this motorized pan and tilt head that you can purchase separately, and it simply just mounts to the slider, and then you can mount your camera to the pan and tilt head. This is also powered by the same Sony batteries as the slider motor add-on, and this also works with the app as well. What's cool is that you can set a start and end point for your shots. So I can position the slider all the way to the left and then point my camera to the right and set that as a starting point A. Then I'll move my camera all the way to the right of the slider and point my camera to the left and set that as point B. Then I can pick my speed and hit start. You can set a bunch of different points and the camera will move through all of the motions that you set it to. What's dope is that you can also loop this motion. So if you wanted to film yourself cooking, you could place this camera anywhere you want and point it towards your prep table or where you're cooking and just let the app loop the motion and your camera can record while you cook. I've seen a few other creators do this, and one of my favorites is Made with Lao. They got a 3-camera setup filming while they cook. One is a main wide shot of the prep table, and a second camera is shooting a top-down shot of the counter and prep area. And a third camera is filming a close-up off to the side that's on a motorized slider moving in a loop left and right. My boy Valgus also does this as well for his cooking videos, and you'll see a few of these motion slider shots in his short form content. I'll put a few links to their content in the description so you can check them out and see how they use sliders to add motion to their cooking videos. I break down all the tools that I'd recommend getting to start making cooking videos in my course, and I'll put a link to that and some other helpful videos in the description if you're just getting started. Thanks so much. Aloha.